Hi, welcome back to session 2. In this session, my goal is to help you go from scattered to structured systems. If you don't know me, structure is my strength. Structure is my strength. If you give me an idea in the morning and you come back in the evening, I am promising you I would have gone from 0 to 2000. And it's not because I want to be complicated. I just like things that work. In fact, that's how I got into automation. So let me give you a bit of a backstory of how I became a techie. 2016, I did not know how to remove my flash from a desktop. And someone had helped me do it. I was like, oh, thank you very much. I went back the next day to say thank you because I was indeed that grateful. I was clueless, absolutely. And then about a few weeks, someone was going to work and I jokingly said to the person, oh, ask your boss if they need a new stuff. I got there and the person asked me, what can you do? I said, I can write. So well, in tech, we call them content creators. So I created content for a month or two for e-commerce. And then I started my podcast 7 months later, which was September of 2016. I didn't know where to upload it. I didn't know how to create a YouTube account. I didn't even know how to create a Facebook page as of January, February of 2016. And then I got into the space after that period and figured, what if every time I had a what if question, I went to read up about it. And that was how I started to make things work. So here's what I'm saying to you. You will not structure your business. You will not get a functioning system until you ask a what if. I went to my website to do this, and it took 30 minutes. What if we could reduce the time to 15 minutes? Someone makes an inquiry. What if they don't have to leave the website to chat with their staff? If you come to my social media, I want people to make comments. What if my staff doesn't have to be there to send a reply to every person? What if I have an advert that runs all year long and just brings in clients? What if I have a book that brings me clients all year long? By the way, that's a free tip. Go get this book, One Book Millions Method. The One Book Millions Method. I don't think it's up to $5. It would do a lot. It would do a lot for your business. Some of you are trying to publish 20 books a year. You don't need 20 books a year. You need one great book. One great book that can sell your brand. For me, as I go into 2026, one of my core goals is to write a book that represents each brand that I own. Every sub-project that I do, one key book. And here's the reason I'm writing the one key book. I'm not writing it so that I have a million bestseller book. I want those. But I'm writing it as a consistent money spinner book. It has to solve the problem of my target audience. I'm not catering to the world. I'm catering to my key target audience. Does it mean I cannot do 25 books, 50 books a year? Absolutely, I can. But I need to know what each book does. I need to know the book I'm distributing globally. I need to know the book that is predominant in my website. I need to know the book that is predominant to this product or this service. I need to know which service this book upsells. I need to know. Anyway, those are free bonus points. Now let's get into the systems I want to look at today. I'm looking at 4 key systems today that I want you to focus on. Systems of marketing. I'm calling them systems because they are not single activities. A system is something that is designed to work automatically. When you go to a factory, there are ways the things are designed to move. Does it mean human beings don't help? Human beings interfere at specific points, but there's an order and there's a structure. So what I want to help you do is achieve structure and order. Like I said, this session is titled Scattered to Structured. So systems of marketing, let's look at your social media systems. Some people have 7 social media accounts. You have Twitter, Thread, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. Which one haven't I mentioned? Reddit. There are other social media accounts. Some people have Clubhouse. Some people use Twitter and Thread. Some people use LinkedIn, and there's this other one that is similar to LinkedIn. Some people host Instagram Live and host YouTube Live, and they host them on different days. That will burn you out. You need a system that allows you manage multiple accounts. So here is a tech rule within my team. We do not pay premium for any tech tool that only solves one problem. That is an internal rule in my business. So there's an AI we wanted to pay for this year. And we kept asking the question, why pay premium for this when it cannot transcribe? And transcribing is most important to us because we generate podcasts on a weekly basis. And between the podcasts for our team and the podcasts for the teams we manage, we are working with as much as 10, 15, 20 episodes bi-weekly. We need something that transcribes all of these in bulk. We don't need an AI that writes when the criterion for getting hired on my team is that you're a writer. Every person on my team is required to have a writing skill or an editing skill. There is no person on my team who does not have one of those two skills. I know my weakness as a team lead. I write really well. I have done 6,000 words in one sitting. I had done 45,000 words in a daily challenge in 40 days. I have written a whole book in 5 days because I did 5,000, 6,000, 4,000 words for 5 days consecutively. So in terms of writing, I know my strength. But in terms of editing is not my strength. It is counterproductive for me to hire someone on my team who replicates my skill set and does not cover my lapses. So in terms of people management, even that's a system for hiring that you should consider. What are the strengths you have and what are the weaknesses you have? What are the strengths of your team members? The internal team training that happened on my team this last quarter of the year, we didn't get an outsider to train my team members. We trained each other internally because every person on my team has an expertise that the other person does not have. I can write copies, but I'm not a fantastic copywriter. There's a fantastic copywriter. Why am I paying an outsider to come and train? Why am I not letting other people on the team understand this person's authority? That is systems of people. Okay, so now when it comes to tools that we use for our marketing and our social media, you need to find things that allow you to be on social media most effectively. If you make 5 posts a day for 1 month, you are likely to have 20 times the following you had before you started it. As opposed to if you make 1 post a day every day for the year, for the month, that is 30 days. If you make 1 post every day, even on Sundays for 30 days, you'll get followers, but it wouldn't be as intensive. The algorithm will not push out your content as much as if you post 3 posts every day for 30 days or even 20 days. You don't honestly have the time to fight with the algorithm. It's not realistic. It's not realistic that you're going to be on social media every day. Even if you hire a social media staff, the person is going to experience fatigue. There are days where they cannot catch up. What happens on days where they can't catch up? This is where a social auto poster comes in. And I'm not saying it's because my company owns one and I want you to get it. No, that's not what it's about. I'm saying it because it simplifies your life. For example, if you post on Instagram, Instagram automatically posts it to Facebook and automatically posts it to Thread. Would you not rather go and post on Instagram knowing it will automatically post to 2 extra platforms than go post on Twitter knowing full well that the Twitter content does not go anywhere but Twitter? It doesn't even show as much on social media, on search engines. Up until last year, Instagram posting used to show up on search engines. If you make an Instagram reel, it didn't show on search engines as much, which means people could not even discover you by looking for, let's say, how to have better sex. Someone could not type in how to have better sex and your how to have better sex video on Instagram will show up on Google. It won't show up. But if you have made that same video post on YouTube, they would have found it on Google. If you go on LinkedIn and you make LinkedIn posts every day, it's fantastic. Of what use is it to your search engine result? Because everybody's not on LinkedIn, but everybody's using a search engine somewhere. right? But if you go to LinkedIn articles and post on LinkedIn articles, it doubles as a proper article that shows up on search engine. Why would I post on LinkedIn post instead of posting on LinkedIn article when it's on the same platform? One post, two effects. For you to have a social media system that works, you need a social media system. You need your social media work to show up outside of that particular social media, or for it to work on another social media. So if I post on Instagram and it goes on Facebook, then I've killed two birds with one stone. If I post on LinkedIn article and it goes on the search engine, I've killed two birds with one stone. If I post on Medium and it automatically allows me to reshare to Facebook, reshare to Instagram, reshare to Twitter, I have killed four birds with one stone. If I put an article on, let me not preempt myself, but if I put an article on my website and I can get the RSS feed to become my newsletter, I have killed two birds with one stone. That's a system. That's a system. You don't want to do one work 12 times. You don't have the capacity to. Even if you're paying 12 people, your team will burn out. So instead of paying for data, instead of hiring a social media manager who you have to buy 100 gig of data for so they can post on 12 platforms, why don't you pay premium for a tech system that allows you to post to multiple platforms at once? Now, there are restrictions. For example, Instagram does not allow auto posters to post carousels, but you don't post carousels every day. You don't even have capacity to design carousels every day. Some of them don't allow you to post heavy reels. For example, our system has that limitation. We're trying to expand the capacity of the reels it can take because 1 megabyte is not a lot, right? But if I make a post in my auto poster, I can post to LinkedIn, I can post to Facebook, I can post to Twitter, I can post to Thread, I can post to Instagram in one post. Now here's where it gets interesting. That's a quick post. We have what is called a multi-post. A multi-post allows me click all these platforms and create a different post for all of them, but click send at the same time or click schedule. And I can schedule all the posts to go to each platform at a different time. You create and schedule this in 1 hour and you can back off for the rest of that day and go do something more important with your life. So even if it's a one-man system, even if it's a one-man company, the problem is not that I can't be everywhere. The problem is that you're using the wrong tool. You don't have a system to your social media. Now, under systems of marketing, let us look at how you do your other marketing outside of your social media. Hold on, please. Outside of your social media, let's look at your ads. How do you handle advertising in your marketing system? Many times we create a new graphic design and then we create a new product. Then we create a new service and then we run an ad to it. That is so confusing because that advert does not have a great lifespan. It does not have a great lifespan. So you have an event coming up in 2 months, you start running an advert for 2 months. Some of us don't need that product in 2 months. Some of us don't need that service in 2 months, but we're going to see that advert. So when we see the advert and we start it, we save it, we follow you, but then we don't really need it immediately, what happens when we come back 6 months later? You've changed the product name, you've changed the product system, you've changed everything. That's terrible system for advertising. Here's how your advertising should work. Like I said in the previous session, you need to have a product or a service that can sell all year long. And then you want to have an advert that runs all year long that brings us to your platform. All year long. All year long. I'm still saying it again. All year long. Which means you need to know the top 3 things your business is dealing with. If your business is a coaching business for C-suite executives, helping them become visible using LinkedIn so that they can be board members, that's someone's brand I just pitched right now. That should be Glory Edosian's brand I just pitched right now. What you would find, or or what should be the typical thing is that we have a book. Remember the one book millions method I referenced? You have a book that is $5, and that one book is running an advert all year long on visibility and LinkedIn. And when someone buys that book brings us to your website. When we come to the website, we see your coaching program on visibility, that is a group event. We see the personal one-on-one version. We see a coaching consultation community. We see that those three things. And now I then decide based on where I am to sign up for the wait list of the masterclass that begins in 2 months' time, or to go for the one-on-one because I don't have time to waste, or to join the community that runs all year long. It's a system of advertising. You can't just advertise single products. Even if you have a single product advert running because you have an event in 12 weeks' time, because I don't think you should be running an advert shorter than that time span. If you have an event that is coming up in December, your advert should have been running since August. And the reason is that between August and September, for the first 1 month, there's something called A/B testing. A/B testing is when we are testing when we use this graphics design versus when we use that graphics design, the result was different. It ran for 10 days. So you had 2 adverts running for 10 days. Or you had one advert that ran for 10 days, that's 20 days. And they said, this graphics design sold better. When we used this text on this same graphics design that did not sell, and we removed the copy from the graphics design that sold and we changed it, we found out, it was not the graphics design, it was the copy. Okay, that's great. But then we found out that it is people between age 20 and 30 that were clicking on it. But we need people between the ages of 30 and 40 to click on it. We found out it was people between age 20 and 30 in the US that clicked and paid. But we need people between age 30 and 40 in the US who can go up to, who we can upsell into another category. Okay, if we have people between age 20 and 30 who are paying, let's run for 20 and 30 and let's run for 30 and 40. You are not going to get these details I just told you by word of mouth. You are not going to get it by research. You are not going to get it by reading a book. You can only get it from running the advert. Like, you will cough out the money and you will run the advert. That's why you find out big brands run hundreds of thousands of dollar adverts every year on these same social media and search engines that you use every day. It's a system. So between August to September, they are correcting all the errors. By the time the advert hits October, they have fine-tuned the copy, the images, the videos, the language, the age group. So between October, November, when the advertising is selling out for the December masterclass, someone comes in January and then says, oh wow, 200 people registered at 250,000 naira. Yes, but how much did they spend on the advertising? How many weeks did they do the A and B testing? What did they upsell the people with? Did they have a free webinar? Did they have free coaching events? Did they have low ticket events? What did they upsell the people with? All of those things are a system. That's why you find out you've been running webinars and you don't have results. Because the system was not even preset. You didn't even know where people were going from the webinar. It was after you picked the webinar date, you now start thinking, oh, what should I sell to these people? What should I sell to people? You will not sell them anything. They will not buy. You know why? The first wording and the first introduction and the way you got them into the funnel did not prep them for an upselling. And because you didn't prime them long enough, they were still a cold audience. And when you are selling to a cold audience, understand that 1% is a success rate, 2% is great success. Meaning if you advertise to 100 people, and advertising numbers are worse. Advertising numbers are even worse than newsletter numbers. If I email 1,000 people, even if it's a cold list, 1,000 people, at least you give and take, you get like 10, 20 responses. If you advertise and 1,000 people view it, you may not get 1 click. Because it's a cold audience. They've never seen you. They've never seen your brand. So you need a system that introduces you to people gradually, even with adverts. And just because it's adverts does not mean it's in our face and we're going to click on it. Have you not gotten adverts where you cancelled it? Okay. Under systems of marketing, community. I've spoken on social media, I've spoken on advertising, I'm going to speak on community. Many of us just want to build a community. You have a community for this, a community for that. Communities are expensive. I run one. Communities are very expensive. They are expensive to get the people in the room because of advertising. Because it's a community, people don't get to speak as much as they should, or they are excessively rowdy, meaning you need a community manager to help engagement. Good. You now have to communicate to people who are at different levels on the same subject matter, meaning you have to teach the same thing 20 different times in 20 different languages, in depth, 20 different tonalities for them to get the same thing. Okay, now you have to find a platform where they will all agree to be on. For example, the communities I have that are Facebook communities, I don't use them. I don't like Facebook. So it doesn't matter how great your business is, you are not about to make me go and open my Facebook and go and create a Facebook group. You are not about to make me join a Facebook group. The only platforms I have stayed on Facebook groups for are platforms that required me to be there for 7 days. After 7 days, I'm out. You cannot get me. And they're usually international. Very rarely can an African brand make me go on Facebook. I know that sounds crazy, but the fact is, most African brands are comfortable on WhatsApp. But I don't like WhatsApp as a user. I'm not speaking as a seller now. I'm saying if you're selling to me, I can be a pretty annoying customer to sell to. I don't like WhatsApp groups. So every time you put me in a WhatsApp group because I want to pay you for something, my first mindset is to leave. Even if what you're selling to me is cheap. I am not your target market, but you need to find what your target market does not like. So even when I'm creating my communities, I'm mindful that there are people like me, but I'm also realizing with everybody's not like me. There are people who like their WhatsApp. There are people who don't like emails. If you send them newsletters, they remove you, they unsubscribe. You need to know your target market, which is why you needed to have done the surveys. So if you're going to use community for marketing, you need to understand how to run a productive community. You need to know the age group, the demography, the thinking pattern, the financial status, people's opinion of themselves within your community. So what I do when I have free communities, that the standard for entering is very rigorous. And the rigor is in the forms. I filter people out with my forms. You need to see my forms. They are wicked. And I'm saying wicked in like a really nice way. They are wicked strict.